Hi everyone! While Labrisa baked in the sun, we headed to Alaska. Since we're going to be here 7 weeks, we didn't want to impose on anyone by asking them to watch Blondie for that long of a period of time. Our friends John and Christy here in Alaska were happy to have a canine visitor. So that's how Blondie found herself facing yet another adventure in her transformation from Mexican street dog to interstate jet setter. Our trip began at my sister's house, about 70 miles from LAX. With everything finally in the trunk, Blondie said goodbye to Turbo, and we headed out the 210 freeway under a pall of smoke from one of California's fires. Alaska Airlines suggested overnight flights for dogs coming from warm weather areas in summer, so we specifically chose a red-eye flight. It was also one of the most direct flights we could find to Kodiak, with a change in anchorage. When Lee made the reservation with Alaska Airlines, they were very specific about the type of dog kennel that they would accept and the size. Although Blondie only weighs 35 pounds, she is long-legged, and one of the requirements was that she be able to lift her head without her ears touching the top of the kennel, which meant the use of a large-size kennel. Additionally, a veterinary health certificate issued within 10 days of the flight is required. The cost of her flight was $100. We taped this flyer to the top of her kennel, hoping that maybe ground crew might call her by name and give her a little reassurance, as she seemed apprehensive. Alaska does not recommend sedatives for dogs, as the effect of the medication is unknown at altitude. Just before the cabin doors were closed on our flights, we received this card. It was comforting to know that she had made the plane change and was on our flight. When we picked Blondie up in Kodiak, she was eager to get out of her kennel, but was her usual self. Overall, we were very happy with our experience flying our dog on Alaska Airlines. Blondie's flying wasn't over though. We still had one more leg. Christy met us when our flight arrived at 7 a.m. and we toured the town of Kodiak and went shopping. At noon, we were back at the airport for our charter flight to Usinki on Spruce Island. The cost of the charter with Andrew Air was only $5 more than the cost of tickets for Lee, me, and Blondie on a scheduled flight. The big advantage was a weight allowance of 1,000 pounds, which is great for people living remotely. Our gear was weighed, and then we were all weighed. We could have done more shopping. Our total weight was only 711 pounds. With the Piper Saratoga loaded and a northerly wind gusting to 30 miles per hour, we taxied to the north runway. There were some bumps in the air, but the view was spectacular. All too soon, the airstrip for Usinki hove into view. We caught a ride into the village with an acquaintance of Christy's, and Blondie enjoyed freedom at last. The last leg of our trip to Sailboat Cove was across the straits, back to the eastern side of Kodiak Island. Lee and John took our luggage across in the skiff, while Christy, Blondie, and I enjoyed the comfort of a Hughes craft owned by Christy's good friend, Jean. Wow, this is like traveling in style. Blondie was now in her element, a boat. Once we reached Sailboat Cove, we transferred to the skiff and got our first glimpse of our home for 7 weeks. Blondie has settled right in and is having the time of her life. More on our adventures at Sailboat Cove to follow, so until then,